Hello, good evening. I'm Oral Gibbes, and welcome to Oral Gibbes Live. Normally on a night like tonight, I'm here alone, but this evening I'm honored to have a remarkable St. Martiner, two St. Martiners. I'm sure you know this remarkable young lady. She's none other than Mrs. Jess Brian Labega, founder of the World Boxing Organization, and she's now senior advisor to the World Boxing Organization. Great to have you here. Congratulations.
Thank you, Oral.
And I also have with us Mr. Erno Labega, and Mr. Labega is the second vice president of the World Boxing Association. Congratulations to you also.
Thank you, and thanks for having us, and good evening to all your viewers.
Well, good to have both of you here this evening. I got to start first with your aunt, because I think what you have done is incredible. You know, you're one of the founding members of the World Boxing Organization.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And it's been around, what, 28 years?
It's been nearly 30 years.
Wow. Time goes fast.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get involved in boxing? I mean, I've had you here before in this program, but you just got back from Puerto Rico, and you was at one time, what, second vice president of the organization?
Yeah, up to the last convention 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so now you're senior advisor. How do you get involved in boxing?
Oh, well, it goes back a long way. Here in St. Martin, my brother Clem and my husband Philip were the first two promoters on St. Martin. Maybe you don't know that.
I didn't know that one.
They promoted boxing a very long time ago. And then afterwards, my brother-in-law, Blair Ford, got into it, and he promoted boxing.
I remember Blair Ford doing it.
Yeah, in the Pentroof.
Right.
And from then on, several people, Chapoting and Freed Scott. And Mr. Scott used to come by me many times telling me, you're always to a boxing. Why don't you join the boxing board? Some of us trying to form a board. Why don't you come and join us? So I went and joined them. After I had been there for a while, we registered the organization, the St. Martin Boxing Association. And we got an invitation then from the World Boxing Association and asking for somebody from our organization to come to their convention. And I went along with Mr. Longon. He was one of them too, Longon.
I remember
Wilson.
Longon, right, yeah.
Yes, he went along with me. And we attended the first convention, our first convention then with them. And after that, we went once or twice more. And I started asking for the convention to come to St. Martin. They promised, and I even wanted to come to St. Martin over Canada and some other countries. And the last minute, because it was election, they didn't come to St. Martin again. They went to Venezuela, Margarita, because that was the country where the then president was from. So he wanted to run the elections in his own country because he was getting competition, and he didn't want to lose. So we weren't very happy about it. And we went to Venezuela, and we joined with the gentleman who was against him, who was running against him, Batista Salas. And well, let me give it to Erno, let him go from there. He's good at that.
Let me tell the rest of the story, how the WBO was actually formed. Well, during the election, the Batista Salas was a candidate for president of the organization. And he had the opportunity to motivate in a speech why he should become president, why all the countries should vote for him. And we're talking about anywhere between 45 and 50 countries that represent a representative of the voting body in the organizations. And while he was presenting his speech, Don King and Mike Tyson came into the convention hall. And Don King, you know, he's a very flamboyant person. When he opens the door, everybody watches and listens. And he started loudly congratulating the president for having won the election, for having been re-elected as president. But we didn't even have the election yet. So at that point, we knew that the lobbying was going on back and forth, et cetera, and that, that it was tight. But we knew that something wasn't up. And then Auntie Jassy, as president of the Boxing Association of St. Martin, and our delegation of about 6 or 8 people, she stood up and protested. And no, somebody in the executive board requested a vote. At the moment, let's not continue with the speeches. Let's request a board now that they have elections immediately. And somebody else seconded it. So it was automatic that election was going to be held then. Auntie Jassy got up and she protested, and the rest of the St. Martin delegation got up, and all the countries that were supporting Batista Salas at the time, everybody stood up. Auntie Jassy walks out, and everybody trailed behind. So, and I like the part where a newspaper in Venezuela carried it. St. Martin walks out of convention, disrupts convention, and walks out. And I think it was in the article because Batista Salas is a senior advisor, the only other senior advisor on WBO now, and he mentioned in the honoring ceremony for her this year that it was because of her. And a statement she made was like, let's go downstairs and form our own organization. And he says that was it. The same night, WBO was formed.
Wow.
And I happened to have been there because I went to Auntie Jassy on that trip. So I was there for everything that went on, and I have been with her ever since.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's how the WBO was founded. And of course, she was honored for that input then, and 30 years of service since.
I want to pull up on the screen, and you can tell me what this is. A belt, a picture of a belt. It's going to come up in a while because I have a delay, so you won't see it right away. You see it in a while on the screen. And tell me about this. What's all about the belt?
Getting cool.
Well, the belt is in boxing.
Yeah.
The icon, the thing most cherished in boxing, the trophy of boxing, is the championship belt. And Auntie Jassy isn't a boxer, so she wouldn't get the championship belt that for having won a fight. So they created a special plaque as her trophy of a championship belt. And she is engraved on it as a champion, a world champion, and she is a world champion in the boxing world.
Definitely,
because she's a world champion in for all the work she has done. She didn't have to be in a fight to be a champion. She's a champion of boxing, and that has been brought forward very clearly and honorably to her in the presentation, honoring her and elevating her from a second vice president to a senior advisor. Now, it's a senior advisor has all rights and all privileges and all voting privileges within the executive board of the boxing of the WBO. So she did, the respect is there. The calling upon her will continue, and she has a say. And
then you have another picture here now also, and that is, you can see it right there. The only lady among all those men.
Yes.
Yes.
But there used to be another one.
But there used to be another one once.
We actually had 2 women from St. Martin on the executive board of WBO.
Who was the other lady?
The other lady was
Alice Richardson.
Oh, okay.
Alice Richardson was living on the French side. She was representing the French Boxing Association, and she was married to a boxing champion.
O'Neill Richardson.
O'Neill Richardson, you remember fighting O'Neill?
Oh, yeah,
Kid
yeah.
O'Neill? Kid O'Neill. From St. Martin.
Oh, okay.
She was his wife, and she was always, and she was on the executive board for quite a few years. She was there at the founding of the organization, and then during elections, she did not get voted on after 2 or 3 elections.
Oh, okay.
So, but she was with the organization for quite a while, from St. Martin also.
And here again is the senior advisor to the organization. Yes. All this is from the WBO boxing magazine that goes all over the world.
Annual
right?
catalog, and the setting of the meetings are as you see it you see her sitting there with her side to the camera in the pink, but she's sitting at the head of the table, and we have the delegations are sitting opposite, and during the sessions of the convention.
And you know, it's just I'm very proud of you, and I know Simran is also very proud of you. There's another picture coming up in a while, WBO again, and you're just below that. All of you. There's a lot of people there in that picture, but
yeah,
again, it's just amazing.
We are about 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
5 o'clock on that picture.
Right. But you know, it's I think what is so important is that, you know, we always talk about St. Martin and St. Martin don't do anything. St. Martin at one time was like almost the center of boxing in the Caribbean.
Yes.
Benitez and all those guys made it in St. Martin. And I remember I spoke with you many years ago when you was
Yes.
here about that. And your involvement in boxing is like you're not gonna stop. You love it that much, right?
Yeah, I like boxing very much. But what we need now is somebody to promote boxing. That's our problem. We don't have anybody promoting it. And in my capacity, I cannot promote boxing. You cannot promote boxing and be a supervisor at the same time.
Right.
Because you'll be supervising
Conflict.
yourself.
Exactly.
So people ask me, why don't you promote boxing? I can't promote boxing because I'm on the supervisory board, you know. So that's the reason I think why people start and then they don't continue. They just let it fall. And I'm very sorry because I wish St. Martin would get back to where it was with boxing.
I don't know if you remember, I think it was 1987, 88, there was a big fight at Treasure Island. You remember that fight?
Yeah.
That was a world...
It was a double fight, a double championship fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the real last big fight, international fight we had in
I think it was the only big fight.
Yeah? Wow.
Whitaker, Rivera, Pernell Whitaker, Rivera was there, Kwate was the champion. It was a
African
two
champion.
championship fights down at the Atlantis Casino.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of celebrities here from the U.S. in
Yes.
support of that fight.
Up to the convention in San Juan, that was talked about.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks ago.
Well, those fights have a problem because they need a lot of money
Yeah, it's very
to
expensive.
bring them, you know, they're very expensive.
But you know, the thing is that when you look at boxing, right, and you go back to, you mentioned your husband and your brother, and also Blair Ford. I remember as a little boy, it was a lot of excitement.
Yeah.
You know, to go there, there was Penthouse was the name of the...
Penthouse.
Yeah,
Pentroof.
Pentroof.
Yeah, Pentroof.
And, you know, and to see today now, St. Martin is a much more wealthier island than it was in those days. I find it strange that we don't have boxing the way we had it like 30 years ago. I don't know if you...
Well, it's as Auntie Jessie says, it's about promoting. It's about coming up with the necessary finances. Now, we have been speaking with all the promoters over the many years, as much as recently with Mr. Peter Rivera of San Juan, a big promoter, international promoter, as well as Oscar de la Hoya, this time in San Juan again. They're willing to do these things. They have even, they are willing to find ways to get the ESPN or HBO to come to St. Martin to televise these fights internationally, because the money is in pay-per-view, the money is in cable TV, etc., etc. So them making the money is not a problem. What is necessary is for the host country to provide a big budget to complement what they're doing. So they, years ago when the Whitaker fight was here, those two championship fights, St. Martin, between French and Dutch side, put up $250,000.
That's not a lot.
Because we get the promotions. I mean, you know, they call the name St. Martin hundreds of times throughout the discussions, throughout the where the fight is, etc., etc.
And millions of people seeing that fight.
So we get our share out of it. We have the problem also of whether we have the money up front as a government. Do we get that support? How do you get that support? How do you mix it and match it to make it work? Recently, we were trying to do the Roy Jones fight here. A promoter came in and was trying to do the Roy Jones fight, and the government did put up the money through their share of the money, etc., etc. Unfortunately, a storm was passing through, and we were forced to reschedule the fight, but the rescheduling never happened. So that money has to be gotten back. But the interest is there. Even the government's interest was there. Claret Connor was the minister at the time, and that interest is there. It's a matter of getting the right people with the right investments to come to St. Martin and do it. That can happen. One of our situations is a venue, a proper venue. We could do it in the yard of the Port de Plaisance by bringing in a huge tent. But I keep saying no. If the Port Authority can bring in the size tents they brought in for that FCCA convention that they had here, we can do it. It's a matter of budget, but the budget can be retrieved. We can make the money back. So it's we, as the Boxing Association of St. Martin, as Auntie Jessie rightfully said, we supervise. We make sure all the rules and regulations are adhered to, the international rules and regulations, the safety rules and regulations, everything that's associated with boxing. So we can't promote it. We may sound as if we can do because of our experience and our commitment and our knowledge and our contacts around the world. But you can't supervise what you're doing because we can't afford to make mistakes and then we cover up our own mistakes. Not in the world of boxing. It is a great sport, but it's also a dangerous sport.
But you know, if St. Martin even put up $2-3 million, it's worth it. It's really worth it.
We could do a lot of fights with $2 million because these companies, HPN, HBO, etc., they're requiring around $250,000. You can negotiate up or down a little.
And that's not
but you know,
lot,
it's not a humongous amount of money. The point is, we need to have it, and it can work. They bring in all their satellite operations. They come in here with 3-4 containers of their equipment and their setup and all the other things, the ring, the lights, everything that goes with it, and it's a package that they have down pat. I mean, they don't have to go and create it.
Yeah.
This is what they do all around the world. So it's just a matter of finding, and we are accessible from all countries. We know our tourism story, so we can get here, and ships can get here 2-3 times a week with a container. So accessibility of getting the equipment here and getting people here is one of the best in the Caribbean.
It's amazing. You know, how many small islands like St. Martin have members from the island on the executive board of an organization like this?
Puerto Rico, Santo Domingo, Panama,
They're much bigger than us.
Costa Rica.
Yeah. Well, they for regional reasons they consider Costa Rica, Panama, Guyana, and some of those South American border countries to the Caribbean side.
Yeah.
They consider them part of the Caribbean region.
Okay.
But other than those, there's no other Caribbean island. We have Cuba.
Cuba.
The little Cuban guy, I can't remember his name. But no other English-speaking or Dutch-speaking Caribbean island. However, we also had Mr. Van Putten. There's a gentleman here, Johan Van Putten, who works for the government.
Yeah.
His father, his first name is Mr. to me, Mr. Van Putten. He was on an executive board of WBC for many, many years. He passed away a few years ago, but he was the president of the Boxing Association of Aruba. And then we have membership from Curacao. We had membership. We had St. Thomas and St. Croix and memberships, etc. So all the islands were represented in some capacity as members. But Mr. Van Putten was in a supervisory vice president role of WBC. And I told his son 2 days ago, I told him, I said, Mr. Van Putten would be very proud of me right now because I know him from 30 years ago when I was holding Auntie Jessie's frock tail going to boxing, and he was there. He got me into WBC, and we started the Caribbean Boxing Federation, which included all Caribbean countries, which I was the treasurer of that organization many years ago.
Yeah, and that still exists too?
That still exists, but I am no longer a member of WBC because I was a member of both organizations then, but now I am fully WBO. I can't sit on two organizations.
But there is no small Caribbean island can boast being a part of the beginning of an organization like WBO like you.
Oh, no, not really.
No.
And that I think is amazing. I think we take so much for granted on St. Martin, And at the same time, I say with Brian Labega, you should be going. They should be inviting you to the schools, so that a lot of young women can hear what you got to say, because when you look at what you're doing, people talk about women today and involvement. You are way ahead of a lot of people.
Yes, definitely.
And what was the most challenging part of it for you?
The most
Challenging part of it.
challenging part.
As a woman.
Oh, I really wasn't. I don't know how to answer that one. I tell you, I really don't know how to answer that one. I like boxing, and no part of it really was very difficult for me. Not even the traveling, which I had to do a lot of.
And they accepted you as a lady in this
Do
most.
whatever the men were doing, and sometimes more.
Yeah.
But I was always available. I always tried to get there to do what I had to do. And it was successful.
If I may
Yeah, you may.
extrapolate a little more on that. One of the requirements of a member of the executive board and the vice presidents is to supervise championship fights.
Oh, yes, that's true.
The WBO is the sanctioning body. It's their belt.
Yeah.
It is their championship. They have full control over any fight. The supervisor assigned to that fight, of which Auntie Jacinth was assigned to many around the world, wherever the fight is, if you're assigned the fight, that's you're like the judge and the keeper of the gate over this fight. And there's so many requirements. You have to be there 2 days before. You have to be at the weigh-in. You have to approve the weigh-in. You have to make sure that all of the numbers are good, etc.
Wow.
There's rules readings. You must read the rules. You must read the rules out loud, like if you're at the notary. Everyone has to be read the rules and regulations of the fight. Before the fight, you have to meet with your 3 judges and the referee. She gives them their assignments. They have to go to the locker room. The supervisor has to be in the locker room before they start wrapping their hands, before they get the instructions from the judges. The supervisor has to make sure everything goes on, that there's a stretcher under the ring, that there's oxygen at the ring in the building, that the local boxing commission has everything in place, that sometimes the television people are in place, where they're seated. All these things are requirements that the supervisor
Don't forget the medical people.
And yes, of course, the medical people. All those have to be in place, and it's a list of things and a lot of work that takes 2 days to prepare or to get done. And if the gloves, when they choose their gloves, the supervisor keeps track. You can't take they don't go with the gloves.
Side, right?
The supervisor is the keeper of the gloves, because if you keep your own gloves overnight, you can put a little something in the glove.
Exactly.
We never know. In every game, there's cheating, And it's so you will be surprised to know that all the international referees, all of the judges, etc., always refer to her as being one of the most stern supervisors, because she makes sure that all the rules are followed, and she reads everything outright. She doesn't assume that they know the rules. This is what, like the notary, this is what they have to read out. I'm reading it out anyway, even though you've heard it several times.
Really?
So it's a lot of work associated. After the fight, if there is a problem, the supervisor is the sole decision maker as to what the problem is for the night. If there's a protest of the fight at the end of it, sometimes we wonder what fight the referees were looking at.
Yeah.
Because the outcome is different than what we anticipate or we see. Yeah. But the supervisor calls that shot. If there's anything going on, there's that shot. If the payments, collecting the checks for the boxers and all that, they have changed that now because of sophisticated international operations. But I remember she used to have to walk with the checks for the boxers.
Yeah.
Big money, etc. But big responsibility.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you can't travel more than 10,000 without reporting it, etc.
Right.
So you don't be doing that anymore. Walking with people's money. You just make sure it's wired properly and appropriately and whatever. But these are the things that the supervisor does. And I know many people, when we would come back from fights, would see Auntie Jacinth and say, "Hey, I saw you sitting at the ring. I saw you sitting ringside." But she was sitting at the ring. We count the votes. Every tally, the judge, and the referees, the judges, is supervised by the supervisor. Is tallied. The tallying comes up at the end of the round, and at the end of the fight, she has to sign off that the count is correct. So it's those are the little things or the big things that she was doing, and well respected for it. And every fight, every international fight, whether she was supervisor or not, every promoter would make sure she's sitting ringside.
You know what? But you know what I like about you? You're not a very, very, very tall lady.
No, not
But you're still very, very tall.
No.
You know?
Yeah, but you're still very, very tall. Yes, I agree with you on that one.
No, serious. No, it's just like, and I was telling my daughter the other day, you know, she got to meet you because she's about 5'4". She's very small and petite and everything else. And sometimes people see her and they think she's 15 years old, you know, and she's a lawyer. She's late 20s, and when I see you, what you project is so much power and confidence, you know, and I think that's important because a lot of women today, going to school, young girls and so forth, they don't see this kind of person like you often, and we have you here in St. Martin doing a remarkable job in a man's world, basically, you know.
And I want to add to that because as much as before, or for at least that I know of from 30 years ago, one of her biggest goals, and continues to champion that goal, is to promote female boxing, female fighting. And it has come a long way since then.
Yes.
And she was very instrumental in the rules and changing rules and laws associated with women's fighting.
Women's fighting.
About that.
So now more women are involved in boxing.
Now we have a lot of women fighting. I had to fight to get them to get WBO to accept women to fight. Yes.
So there was a really...
You know, of course, I was in the minority as a woman, but women, I wanted to see them doing the same thing that men do. So we had to fight it. And naturally, I won the fight, and we have them fighting now.
Many champions.
We have champions in almost every division.
Really?
Every boxing division. Yeah.
And I saw Muhammad Ali's daughter. She doesn't fight anymore, I think, right?
No, she doesn't fight anymore.
Yeah. But and in St. Martin, we had a few. They had Alexander, young lady. She was also one of the boxers.
Cloud.
Alexander,
yeah, right.
A local boxer, and she's still involved in boxing.
Still fights,
trying to train young boys and girls and get them excited and give them the initiative to get involved in boxing. So she's very committed to boxing.
Yeah.
Do you think should we have a good gym where youngsters can go and really practice? Because
if we could have a good gym, we probably could do some local fighting.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have to concentrate on bringing in fighters yet.
Yeah.
Later on, well, we have some amateur fighters now. Sean Blair, he's trying his best to get some amateurs fighting, and he's doing a good job. But we need now to have a promoter for professional fighting. For a long time, nobody has been interested.
But in addition to that, we also have a local boy, young man, fighting professionally. He fought here a couple of times in the two last cards we had.
Sidney.
Maku.
Sidney Maku.
Sidney Maku. Yeah. And very good fighter, very promising. As a matter of fact, he was so interested in boxing that he relocated to New York.
Really?
And he is in training with a trainer in New York. I believe he moved from New York now, somewhere else. But he went to the States, let's put it that way, for lack of knowledge exactly where he is. And he is concentrating on boxing only. So, you know, we can produce boxers like Curacao produces baseball players.
Yeah.
You know, one having won last night. So it's... We do have that talent, and we just need the scouts.
And the thing is, boxing is the only sport where the paycheck is so huge for one night. There's no other sport like that.
When you get to that level, yes.
Yeah, you know. And what still surprised me though is because when you see how we have grown, a lot of the sports that we did very well back in the 70s and 80s, it seemed like we just don't care anymore. And I find it kind of strange that we're not promoting sports. In sports, I think if you promote sport, it's a way of promoting your island. You can mention Curacao and how you feel about it.
Very true.
Yeah.
Because for the tourism, if we had boxing going, we would be on our name would be called, St. Martin would be called all the time.
Yeah.
But we need promoters.
Boxing is a traveling sport. People will come to a fight.
Yeah.
But the difficulty with boxing is that it's not only a sport, it's a business too.
Yeah.
You know, because you can have other games that you don't have to pay the fighters, the participants. But with boxing, you have to pay the fighters. So it's also a business. And people don't, if they lose a little something, they don't want to go back into it. So you'll have somebody fighting, promoting 1, 2, 3 fights, and then they stop. I don't like to say it, but it is the truth. You know, they stop.
But it's a pity because here we have you as one of the founding members of the World Boxing Organization. We used to have so many fights, so many of the big fighters used to come to St. Martin.
Yeah.
And now we nowhere, except to having you and
Erno.
so here, as the only 2 St. Martiners left in the boxing world. I want to see fights come back to St. Martin. And
well, I want to push that a little further. We do have people like Sean Blair, who was a boxer and an extreme intensive interest in boxing and pushing boxing. Claudette Alexander. You have other people who have been in boxing a while back, EOP and Fernando and all of those, Elton Jones, Killer. The interest is still there.
Elton Jones used to fight too?
Elton never used to fight, but he was on the Boxing Association.
Oh,
He was always involved with trying to promote, trying to keep things going. So the interest is here. We talking Drew. We had Betty Arundel, who passed away recently, who was in the Boxing Association for at least 25 years. Another female. You know, we have that interest, but what we do, we are the administrators of boxing. And we're not involved with the promotion and where the money is.
But I hope after people seeing you all again here tonight, you can say, wow, maybe we need, as the senior advisor to the WBO is saying, we need promoters in St. Martin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keep the sport going.
I hope so. I really hope so. And they can call on us at any time. And we are available for advising, for even helping best we can. And we have been even on an annual crusade to become the representative boxing commission of the country, where each country now, each WBO, BABC, and whoever, they work with commissions. Each country now has to have proper representation. And this is to safeguard the records of fighters, etc., so you don't have mismatches. Or a fighter from St. Martin can't say, I had 15 fights, won 14 and lost 1. It has to be documented, registered, and proper. So all these.
There'll be a sanctioned fight and everything.
Yeah. So you can't get away with those kind of, finagling with your records anymore. So, but we established the Boxing Board of Control, and we're now working with government to see if we could get it sanctioned, get that organization sanctioned. All boxing would have to pass through your local commission. We are called upon whenever there's a fight. The police department, before you get a license, they say you have to listen to the Boxing Association. You have to follow the rules of the game, etc., as supervised by the Boxing Association. That is an honor, and that is a regular respect situation. However, we want to formalize it because it has to be formalized on an international level.
The thing is that when you look at what you all are doing, and seeing this for almost 30 years, did you ever expect that you'll still be there after all these years?
Yes, I knew that I would be always there, always involved with boxing in some way.
So you never thought that, I'm just going to be there for a few years and then after that, I'm out?
No, I always wanted to be there, and I knew I would be there.
Okay.
He doesn't miss a fight on TV, you know?
Yeah.
No matter what time of the night or morning it is.
Let me take a call for you. Earl Gibbs Live, you're on call. Hello?
Congratulations
Doc.
to your guest.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you.
It's a very good program that you are having there tonight. And I could remember Auntie Jacinth sometime when Teacher Hanson was alive, that I was in their midst. You remember that, Auntie Jacinth?
Yes, my dear.
Yes. And it is admirable what she is doing. It kind of reminds me of the lady with the lamp. And she is the lady with the gloves. And her nephew, Erno, also have to be congratulated.
Thank you.
I could remember all back with Napoleon when he used to fight. And Kid Shirley used to come from Frinkits, and he and Beasley used to fight.
Beasley?
Beasley was in this thing
Dunker?
too.
Right.
But I don't know it. But what confuses me, how Bobby Otley is not a part of your organization. He seems to be very interesting and making an effort. So it would be a wonderful thing if you can encourage him more and help him on. Then we would have even more respect where it is concerned. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. And as far as Bobby's concerned, we help him very much. We appreciate what he tries to do. And anytime he comes to us, we will always help him.
Okay, let me take another call for you.
And we have been working with Bobby over the many years, over the many fights that he has promoted in
Yes.
St. Martin. And we have assisted in every capacity we can with Bobby Otley because we appreciate what he is doing and we want more people to do it too.
Earl Gibbs Live, you're on call. Hello?
Good night.
Good night.
I am there talking about Bobby. Bobby thing, fights and thing, and nobody never get the money back. I don't know what they're talking about, Bobby. Bobby take people money and they never get back the money.
Well, I try to keep it positive here this evening, so I don't know about that, so I don't, I don't want to.
Buy tickets, thing know me. Bobby don't know me. You know me good in who he is. Bobby take money from me for fighting car, and I never get back my money.
I'm sorry.
When they're supposed to have a fight there in the Calaval village. And a lot of people didn't say, up to now, people still saying that they never get back the money from him.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but we're trying to keep it, it's
No, Bobby's not good for boxing. I like boxing, but Bobby's not good for boxing.
Well, one of the things that Auntie Jessie has clearly indicated that the boxing is a business. And promoters are in the business to promote fights because they love promoting fights. They will also, it's a money-making business. And there are certain aspects of...
never get back your money.
Yeah, there are certain aspects of the fight. Sometimes you get cancellations.
Okay, you have a good night,
okay, thank you.
Okay, good, mate, good.
Nice.
Excuse.
Sometimes you have the cancellations. Sometimes you have issues associated with it. But that's a promoter's responsibility, and it's unfortunate in boxing that it happens all over the world. But we need to find the proper matches, etc. And it is not stopping us from moving on in boxing.
And again, too, the World Boxing Organization really have nothing to do with the
local
with that
boxing.
Too. Exactly.
Right. But we are the boxing. She is also the president of the St. Martin Boxing Association, so we're very much involved with what happens locally also.
Too,
Well, we do try on behalf of the police too to supervise the fights, but we don't supervise the financial part of it. We deal more with the rules and regulations in the boxing and not the financial part of it. So we don't know when somebody has been paid or has not been paid.
Right.
You see?
And that falls out to you all.
That's out of our jurisdiction. We don't know.
But it's still, I look at boxing and I say, look, it's amazing to see where we are today. I remember also there was a place there on Front Street. I don't you remember there was some fights there too, right on the beach side.
After the Pasagran?
No, down in the center part of Front Street.
Where Flanders has a hotel.
Before that area, just before you get to Seaview, they had a big kind of tree. They had some concerts. Used to keep their ears.
Gibbes had a store.
Somewhere there in Front Street. Yes.
Trees where Rams had built
exactly.
that complex.
Yes.
Yeah.
They never had fights there too many years ago.
Yeah, Philip and Clem had a fight there.
Yeah.
I could remember fights all when they had the big tall wall up street there where you used to live, the big rock wall where Sitco Bank was. They had a big high wall.
Yeah.
And there was a big open lot there. Where Music Man is on that property now.
Okay, no, wait.
They used to have boxing behind that big tall wall.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little tot, but I remember that big wall and one or two fights up there.
And that's just around the corner from where I used to grow up.
That's what we call it, yeah. That's where you grew up there. And then, but Chapoting, by Chapoting's place was after those years, Chapoting was the venue for boxing.
It was boxing was the biggest night in St. Martin. It was a huge thing.
And on the French side, we used to have, what's his name? On the French side, keeping boxing.
Lou Bailey? Not
No. Fortuno.
Fortuno
On the French
Not
side.
Louis Fortuno?
Louis Fortuno.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he was also on an association. He was traveling with us. He was in Margarita with us when WBO was formed. Yeah, he was him and Longan, the two faithfuls, huh?
Let me take a call for you. Oral Gibbs Live and call. Hello?
Yeah, we're talking about on Backstreet. They used to call Pen Proof.
Okay, that was for the
Proof too.
Yeah.
About there, yeah.
Pen Proof.
Yeah, we mentioned that too, yeah.
I used to go up the Kenneth tree and watch the boxing.
So you owe the promoters money for going doing that.
I know all about boxing. I used to be wrong boxing for years. I know when they used to have boxing by Chapating Sporting Club.
Yeah, that's right.
I had a brother used to box. He used to call him Kid Rolando.
From Soccer Garden?
Yeah, fight Babadoo.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Hey, Babadoo was a good fighter in those days too.
Yes, Babadoo was a good fighter.
Babadoo used to be good,
Yeah, he was good.
But I think, I can remember, if my memory calls back, Babadoo fought Wilfredo Benitez by Chapoting Sporting Club.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And give him a tough fight too.
Becoming a champion.
And give him a tough fight too.
Yeah, Benitez fought many times here. Santos Solis, a lot of champions, like you said. We had a fella, a boxer, was from here. We called him from here, but not Ivan Lee.
Manguila?
From Manguila.
To fight St. Thomas.
Easy Boy League.
Yeah.
Easy Boy League.
He was our boy. Anguilla, St. Thomas, St. Martin. And he fought a big fight with Benitez, Santos Solis, and I think a lot of those people who have since become champions in the world, if you say rightfully or have fought here.
Who's that? No, you know that is?
He used to be a boxer too.
Where, is it Madden?
Yeah.
Max?
He fought against my brother. I beat my brother and he jumped up. That was the first fight he win. He jumped up in the ring and he stand up and he locked his foot again. I beat my brother, Kid Rolando. I was by Chapating Sporting Club.
I mean, we had Killer, we had Fighting Fritz.
Aladusa, all those fellas.
Fritz was my cousin, Fritz from Cincinnati.
Fernando from French
He used to live in Anguilla.
Oh yeah, Fritz passed on.
From French, from
UP them, brother, UP.
I like UP. UP is my family too.
He was involved in boxing too. He was a
he was a
timekeeper.
referee.
He was a referee, still
Yeah.
is, and has promoted several fights
Yeah.
in St. Martin in recent.
UP used to be a referee, and this guy here, when you come back at the past Steakhouse, right there, he used to be a referee too.
Drew
Drew.
Solomon. Andrew
Slim
Solomon.
guy.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
yes.
understand, let's smile it both eye.
Drew.
Yes, and Solomon,
Andrew Solomon.
yes. Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, so he's on board. He's on the St. Martin Boxing Association.
Andrew
board.
Solomon too? Yeah,
he's
what?
with us.
Okay.
I will like I used to do is get back boxing and go again.
Well,
Because in the days, boxing used to be good. We had some good boxers here. I like Tip Tiger. Tip Tiger.
O'Neill,
Tucker Garden.
Kid O'Neill.
we
I
had
like Kid.
Petty used to fight.
Yeah.
Last Sunday, we call
Nando
him.
Dudengano, he used to be good too.
Nando, who passed away
Yeah.
recently from
Yes,
Tucker Garden.
Nando.
Yeah.
Kid Nando, a fighting Nando.
Kid Nando, I think it
Yeah,
was.
I mean,
Nando.
we had a lot of promising boxers. Had we had
Yeah,
the
good boxers
possibilities to get them
back in the
abroad,
days. Really good boxers.
they could have made
You
it.
know?
Wow, it's a pity. But thanks for calling. I really appreciate it because I'm.
Right now I got nephew. I got nephew in Holland. And his father used to be Rupert Carty. He was the champion of Holland back in the days. But what he doing now, he training young fellas. You know, Alan, who had a bakery there in town?
Some Alan?
Alan.
Hello?
Yeah, yeah.
Alan?
Alan?
Yeah, Alan who had a bakery there in town. Was his grandfather.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He was a champion in Holland. He was good. He was very good. So all of the fellas in my family used to be good boxers.
I supervise right in Holland too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like we said, we are very open, and we will continue doing what we can to promote
Yes.
boxing and keep it alive.
If I want to become a referee in an organization like the World Boxing Organization or any other organization, let me just take this call. I'll come back to it. Oral Gibbs Live and caller. Hello.
Yes, boxing first began in that property there that Erno spoke about there, in the area of Passon Graham.
Okay.
That's where he was talking about.
Oh, and that's
Area of Passon Graham.
very, very close to where he was born and grew up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And who was really good back then was Napoleon. You remember Napoleon?
Who was that? You know who that was?
I'm trying to remember.
I wouldn't know who that is.
Napoleon was a gentleman. When the soldiers were here in St. Martin,
Oh, that's
was
wow.
a soldier.
Time ago.
Napoleon was a strong, heavy fellow. His brother name was Julito. Julito used to play a guitar.
Yes, I know Julito.
Yeah.
Yes, I know him very well.
Was his brother. Julito gonna take a guitar and play it on his back.
Yes, I know.
Napoleon was great. He was very good. But what humbugged him one night, he was fighting a guy from Guadeloupe.
Oh,
And he had so much confidence because he used to win. Wadiga.
Wadega. Yes, I remember that.
Guadeloupe was. And Napoleon used to hit his little moves. And they refused to give him anything to drink. And he said, no, I could handle it. I have confidence. His mistake was when he took that booze. What did I landed right on him cold. But he was good. And Beasley was doing good too. Beasley fought with a youngster from St. Kitts. It's Shirley. I don't remember it good.
Gee,
Anyway, I really
Good.
very good.
And one important boxer we need to think about then too was Ivan, fighting Ivan from Colby.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
You know, we can't talk boxing without naming Ivan.
Yeah.
with that swinging left hook.
It's
I
amazing.
remember Wadega. I think
Guadeloupean.
that means king of the gloves or something. In English, it's French.
I
I think it's something guys gloves. Well, anyway, I remember hearing about him.
Yeah, it's amazing. But if someone wanted to become a referee,
Referee,
yeah.
is it difficult? You have to go through a lot of training.
You have to go through certain. You have to. Well, they'll give you lessons,
Yeah.
and then they have meetings. They explain things. Yeah.
Becoming on the WBO level, they are all international referees and judges who
Yeah.
they can work not only for WBO, they work for WBA, BC
Oh, they're
championship
all
fights.
over.
All the
But you start off from being a referee or judge in your local countries, your local commissions, and you show promise. You show just like the boxers, you elevate yourself through practice and work. And when you are known, you are appointed as a referee or a judge in a country where there's an international fight. Because we would try to at least get one local or two local referees and judges. And now it is there's a required training called the ABC Boxing Rules and Regulations for referees and judges that is required. You are certified. You are a certified boxer. I mean, judge or referee.
Judge.
And it's a standard training for all referees and judges, which is at every convention and throughout the world. All judges and referees have to be certified. And it's not a difficult training. It's not an academic situation, but they discuss boxing from A to Z. And there's a lot to learn. So we try to encourage people with us, those kind of people who are interested, to come to our convention with us and see what is happening. They're not the cheapest thing, so it's not that everybody have this kind of a possibility to get away for a week from work, if not properly planned, and put up some monies, etc., to go to these things. But it is extremely, people who are die-hard boxing fans would benefit a whole lot.
You know, I'm almost out of time. I want to give you all each a minute first with the senior advisor. Anything you want to add included?
Well, I want to thank you for having us here tonight. And I want to ask the people out there if they know anybody or that is interested in being a promoter, please encourage them, let them come by me or go by Erno, and we will help them if there's any help needed, because we really would like to bring back boxing, and there's only one way: we have to get people that will promote it.
I want to thank you and congratulate you again for what you've done for boxing in the world. As a St. Martin lady, you're a remarkable lady. Congratulations again to you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Labega, congratulations to you also. And closing remarks?
Thank you, and on behalf of St. Martin, we will remain ambassadors in the boxing world, in the tourism world for St. Martin. That will continue. And as Auntie Jessie says, we are here as the Boxing Association on a local level to help promote boxing in general, and we'll continue trying to promote boxing internationally on St. Martin.
Again, thank you very much to both of you.
Thank you.
And that's it for now. See you next time. Until then, good night. Take care. Bye.